Hi everyone. So lots of you will already be familiar with Camp Imadene. For those of you who aren't, Camp Imadene is a summer camp right here on Vancouver Island that Lambrick has been supporting and partnering with for many, many years. Lots of our youth came to faith there or have had formative early experiences with God there. It's a ministry we absolutely love to support. And lots of you will already know Sam Brouwer as well. If you don't know Sam, Sam has grown up in Lambrick and over the years has been a champion putting up the chairs and cutting the grass for us. He's a youth leader. If you've ever seen the pretty like hipster lights that we have in the sanctuary sometimes on special occasions, it was quite likely Sam that put them up. And this summer, Sam is working at Camp Imadene, and we are also supporting him as one of our young adult short-term missionaries. So this week, as Camp Imadene is our missional prayer focus, I caught up with Sam, just found out a little bit about how camp is going this year and what his role is and how we can pray for him. So here we go. Yeah, so how's it going up there? Are you exhausted or?
Well, it's been a busy couple of weeks. We have got, I think we're about 3 weeks into having campers with us. And so we've had 3 weeks of day camps. We have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday individual day camps. So kids will come up for just one day. And then on the weekends, we're having retreats overnight.
Okay.
And so we've had our family camp retreat, and we just finished up our intermediate retreat. We're heading into our junior retreat on Friday. So we're keeping busy. There's lots of turnover for sure, but it's really good. It's really good.
What is your role at Camp Imadene this year?
My role this year is a little bit nebulous, but my official title is head summer staff.
Okay.
So I am managing our staff team. We have 26 staff up at the moment, and so myself and a co-head are sort of leading that up and making sure that everyone's happy and going and where they need to be. And then I have also taken on a lot of program responsibilities. So my co-head and I are in charge of planning all of the storyline and the games for our program and also organizing the chapel program. So we're not bringing up nearly as many speakers this year from outside sources. And so we're relying a lot on our staff for speaking and for doing skits and little games and whatnot. And so, yeah, that's the majority of where our time is spent in the chapel program and
Yeah.
in the outside program as well.
What does a typical day look like for you at the moment?
Well, it really depends whether it's an overnight camp day or a day camp day. For our day camps, for me, I'm actually not as hands-on involved. Our wonderful group leaders are handling the kids for the majority of the day, taking them through a rotation of all of the activities that we have here at camp. And then I typically run the chapel. We have a chapel session before lunch. And then I am also running a wide game in the afternoon. But the majority of my days during day camps are just spent doing organizational things and prepping for our overnight camps, which have a much more extensive program. There's 4 chapels over 2.5 days and 4 games over 2.5 days. So that is a lot more work. And then also just checking in on all the staff, making sure that they're doing all right, making sure that they have the tools that they need, the energy that they need, and are feeling supported.
Yeah.
I was in a Bible study with all of the male staff here at our camp, and we were just chatting one night, and then we did a 5-word check-in, and we were just seeing how everyone was doing. And one of our staff members, he's been doing a little bit of group leading and a little bit of cleaning and whatnot, and everyone was just checking in, being like, "Oh, I'm tired, but doing quite good." And then his 5 words was, "God is changing me now." Maybe it was just 4 words.
Mm.
Anyways, so that was like so awesome to see because he is an amazing guy, and I am really glad that this is not just an experience where he gets to pour into the kids, but also he gets to be poured into. And I think that's something that I've seen definitely through my camp experiences. Being a staff member has been probably more impactful than my actual days at a camp, or even though those were also very formative for my faith. So yeah, I think it's a great community that we've established up here, and I'm just glad that he was able to be a part of it.
Okay, so you can answer this question for this year specifically or referring to
Hmm.
previous years if you prefer. But I am curious, what is the silliest thing you have ever had to do as a Camp Imadene staff member?
Ooh. That is really tough. Well, one time, I don't know if this is something that was a staff responsibility, but
Okay.
one time the kitchen decided that they were going to make jello into these shapes. And so they had cookie cutters
Yeah.
and they were making dinosaurs and stars and whatnot. And the kids loved it. But what they did was they added extra jello powder to make it more stable for the cookie cutters, but they added way too much. And so this was like ballistic gel. It was so thick. And so I think I was probably about 16 at the time, and I was up here as an LIT doing all sorts of cleaning and whatnot. And so what we decided to do, because the staff all ate outside at that time, is we went out on the lawn and we had these ballistic jello dinosaurs, and we would throw them about 50 feet in the air and then try and catch them in our mouths, because if they hit the ground, they would just bounce. They wouldn't break. And so here we were for probably half an hour just throwing jello up in the air trying to catch it. And oh man, yeah, we didn't eat that. Even
Good.
if we did catch it in our mouths, we did not eat it. It was, it was solid.
Oh, that's so funny. Do you know what I love about that story is often I feel like camp pushes encourages
Yeah,
staff members and volunteers to do stuff that's a little bit silly, but that's not the case in your story at all. That was just
that was just us. That was just us for sure.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh. Um, so are things like COVID wise this year, are things like kind of almost back to normal, just like fewer visitors?
Yeah, almost. So normally in a regular summer, we would not be doing day camps. We'd just be having full week camps from Sunday afternoon until Saturday morning.
Mm,
So we weren't exactly sure coming into this summer what the restrictions were going to look like. We didn't get our mandate from the BC Camping Association until about early June.
mm,
And so we had committed to day camps, and then we had left our weekends open so that we had the possibility of overnights. And so we were very excited to be able to do that. And so it's essentially a condensed schedule of a normal summer. A few less campers. Our normal capacity is 168. We're at 120. But outside of that, we're running almost all of our normal activities,
mm.
essentially how we would run them. We're super fortunate to be able to do that, and super excited that we can have campers back in a real way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Are you finding that like the campers that are coming are just same as always this year, or are you finding that are you noticing any of like ways that the pandemic has affected them, like hungrier for connection or anything?
I think these kids are super excited. We had our intermediate retreat last weekend, and the energy level of those kids, like intermediate kids, that's grade 5 to 8. And so it's already up here. And they were off the wall. They came into our first chapel for, we were explaining a game or something. There were kids standing on chairs. Yeah, no one was hurt, but that was the energy level of those kids. So
Oh
it,
boy.
yeah, they are very excited to be not sitting around at home and staring at a screen, I think. So we're glad to have them.
Awesome. Um,
Mhm.
so so how can we be praying for you specifically? Like how? how are you finding? Are you kind of maybe in the middle of your stretch at camp, or is it still quite at the beginning for you? How can we be praying for you?
Yeah, it's in the middle. I got here at the beginning of May, and May and June was our off season, and that looked very, very different. There were only 8 of us staff up here, and we were mostly just getting the property prepped up and the program prepped up. Lots of raking leaves. We had a few guest groups from schools and whatnot, but it was very laid back. And then we've kind of hit the gas pedal in these past few weeks with actual camps at the beginning of July.
Yeah.
So for me, I think the biggest thing is just energy. With day camps being individual, it's basically restarting a new camp 4 times a week.
Mm.
And so that takes a lot of turnover. It takes a lot of organization. And yeah, you can't assume any prior knowledge for anyone. So you just have to get everyone up to speed every time. So it it is a lot. It's really good though. I'm so glad that we can have this many kids experiencing camp because there's so many kids that just wouldn't be able to do an entire week. And so I think this is a great opportunity for them to really get a taste of what camp is like. But
Yeah.
yeah, energy for me is the big one.
So, what would you say right now are maybe kind of like the wider needs for Camp Imadene? Like, is it like, are you guys just rejoicing because the pandemic is over for you and it's almost back to normal? Or are there still things that, you are praying for that we can be joining you in prayer for?
Largely, we are in the rejoicing stage, I'd say. Yeah, we're super excited to be back. We do still have some volunteer staff member needs for our overnight camps. We don't have enough full-time staff to fulfill the cabin leader needs. And so I think we're still looking for several cabin leaders. If anyone is over 17, 18, loves Jesus and loves kids, and is available for a weekend, definitely pop to our website and put in a staff application. We would love to have you up. Um, Outside of that, yeah, it's largely rejoicing. We're in a great place. We're really excited by the growth that we're seeing. It's the pandemic has really put a lot of changes in. We've had some staff turnover in the higher up staff as well, but I think that's all been a fairly smooth transition, and we are we're in a really good place.
That's fantastic news. Hooray.
Hmm.